Morning, guys. William here with Patriot Containers. You know, the most common complaint that cargo container companies get, if I could put like number 1, 2, and 3. Number 1, and it's always been this way. 13 years ago, I used to work for horrible companies that never did anything right. The number 1 most complaint is when you guys have sales reps that promise over a phone you'll have your delivery in 5 to 10 days, and then the containers takes like a month or 2 to show up. That's got to be the most common complaint. Common complaint number 2 with these horrible Pinocchio rookie companies is the customer was promised a good container, and then the company shows up with a horrible container. And then I think those have been the most common complaints probably in the history of people ordering cargo containers. But the newest complaints now, and the reason why I'm making my videos, is a lot of companies are charging you guys miscellaneous fees and keeping thousands of dollars of your money for something that you haven't done. The company has done it to you, and then when you realize that you went with the wrong company, that their business ethics were totally not good, and you want out or you want them to be responsible, they're never responsible, and they never let you out of the trap unless you lose thousands of dollars. That's the newest complaints that weren't around when I first started selling containers 13 years ago. Companies weren't like that. And that's kind of like the tipping point of me studying these bad companies, of what made me start making these videos. And I don't think there's anybody on YouTube making videos like this, because I've worked for companies like that in the past. I study these companies. I read their terms and conditions. I read their complaints. I read how the company responds to their complaints. I see the containers that these companies are selling you guys. I know with what condition they really are in, and I know why these companies can't run a legitimate business, because they just have their head. It almost seems like these types of companies, every single employee, from the employees, the peon employees, to the sales agents, to the business owners, they all have their heads so far stuck up their ass that they can't see straight. And therefore, that's how you end up going with a shit show. When your company is based off of only sales and lies, you can never run a good operation. You will always run a shit show. So anyways, the most common complaint, and I'm gonna read this. It's one of these idiot companies. And they got this complaint last month on the 21st of November, but they ordered on the 23rd of October. And this is just a common complaint. I'm going to read it really quick. It says, I purchased and paid for in advance a 40-foot shipping container from the company on the 23rd of October, with the understanding it would be delivered in 5 to 7 days. Let me tell you something, and I don't think people understand this. When you're ordering something like a cargo container, it's not like UPS or FedEx or United States, postal office is going to just show up one day. Every container that is delivered, no matter who you buy from, it's got to be scheduled with an actual driver. So when you're dealing with a salesperson and they're trying to sell something to you, trying to close you, that salesperson has no clue of when your container is going to get there. But that's a piece of information you need to know to place an order. You need to know that. And a very common question is, when am I going to get my container? Well, these salespeople don't know, and they never will know, because they're not the ones scheduling it. So they must tell you something that sounds appealing so you place an order. So what companies like this do is they say, well, we can have you your container in 5 to 7 days. Well, in this review, the customer didn't get their container for like over a month. So anyways, but here's what I've said in multiple videos, and I want to read this, because these companies know for a fact when they're taking your order, you are told a lie. And that lie is 5 to 7 days. Some companies say 7 to 10 days. Some companies say 7 to 10 business days. See how it just gets wider and wider and more confusing and not direct. You do not have a direct delivery date when you deal with these companies. You just don't. And so that right there, honestly, I wish more people knew the information that I knew. Most likely, I would say this: 90% of the time when you're dealing with a salesperson that says, "Oh, we can have you your container in 7 to 10 days or 7 to 10 business days or whatever they're telling you," you're not going to get the container in that day, in that time. It's a lie. Literally, it's 90% of the time you're not going to get a container at that time. But and what I was saying earlier, and I've said this time and time again, they have 10 different lies to tell you of why your container is not going to arrive. And that's what this person says. I have been touching base with the company almost daily, with each day bring a new lame excuse as why they can't execute the delivery. Logistics problems. Third-party delivery resources are unavailable. Broken down vehicles. I've heard all of those before, but I've never heard this one I'm about to say. And today's excuse, a phone system failure. Oh man. If you got an office full of people, I guarantee you every adult human being that's working in the office has a cell phone. That's the worst excuse I've ever heard. Oh, we can't deliver it because we have a phone system problem. Well, pick up a cell phone. Anyways, every individual I have spoken with has covered their liability with the finger pointing and blaming to external issues rather than providing a solution. I almost want to finish this so I can just not read it anymore. But these companies are never at fault for anything that goes wrong. They always say, "Oh, we're so sorry. It's not our fault. It's somebody else's fault." It's 100% the company's fault for giving you a poor service, for bringing you out a bad container, for not delivering on the time. These companies are idiots, people. They can't run a good operation. They just can't. That's how this industry is. I'm telling you right now, I'm in this industry. I read this stuff all the time. I've worked for companies like this. It's amazing that if you're looking for a cargo container, you have a 90% chance that you're going to go with a company that's not going to deliver right away. They could take 1 to 3 months, and then they're going to show up with a shitty rust bucket with or without holes, no matter what you were told, whether it was the truth or a lie. And if anything goes wrong, it's not the company's fault, it's somebody else's fault. And in the end, you're liable for losing thousands of dollars for something you haven't even done wrong. That's how this industry is. That's why I make my videos. So, anyways, let's get through this. Please assist me in the absence of having this container is costing me additional expenses in storage rental. So obviously this guy needs this container. He has his stuff somewhere. He's probably paying money, and it's costing him more and more money when they should have just delivered the container. I have something to say about this is what Patriot Containers does is so simple. It's almost stupid with what I do. I buy directly from shipping lines that have containers that are inspected properly, so I know with what I'm buying from my customer. So if you place an order with me, I call my driver and I go, hey, I have a container that needs to go from here to there. What day can you do it? Oh, I can do it to this day. Hey, customer, is that day good for you? Yes. Okay. Okay, driver, put me on the schedule. And then I get a release number from the shipping line for the proper container that was sold to you with the truth. And then I send my driver an email and your container shows up on the right day. There's a little bit more to it involved in that, but that's basically with what I do. And I do it correctly, and I purchase better containers than these idiots. These companies, they do sell new. They might sell good ones on occasion. I think when customers get good containers, it's luck. Companies like this, they purchase their containers based off of the shipping line that's going to give them the cheapest price. Now, some of these shipping lines that I could buy from, that I have bought from in the past, they used to inspect their containers correctly. So I knew every time I purchased a container with what my customer was going to get. But some of these shipping lines stop inspecting their containers past a certain point. Well, they'll inspect up to here. Well, all these containers below this are what I don't sell my customers, because if I do, I'm going to have complaints all the time. I need the containers that are inspected after this. But some of these shipping lines nowadays, they'll sell us companies cheap containers across the board, but they're only inspecting to here. Well, that means if I sold a container up here and I bought this container, maybe 1 out of 10 customers of mine would get the container that I sold. So I can't buy from those shipping lines, even though I have in the past, but they stop inspecting to a certain point. So the reason why companies like this deliver crappy containers a lot, and then on a rare occasion deliver good containers, they're blindly purchasing their containers from shipping lines that don't inspect their containers. They sell a cheap container price. That's why these companies buy from those shipping lines. There's something else I wanted to show you. Oh, there's another website. And I found this not years ago, but I found this website about 7 or 8 months ago. It's called pissedconsumer.com. It's another website you guys as customers, if you went with one of these bad companies, you can go and file complaints. But I thought this was hilarious. The business owner says, now you gotta understand that with container companies, they only want you to see Google and BBB. That's it. The reason why is every container company can pay companies to write fake 5-star reviews on Google and Better Business Bureau, and it doesn't take them down. So their scores are higher. On Yelp, they have 1 stars. On this pissedconsumer.com, they have like 1 or 2 stars as well. So the owner, it's so funny that the owner says this. We do not respond to this review board. We use and trust Google and Better Business Bureau. Of course you do, because you get to pay for fake 5-star reviews, and they don't take them down, so your image looks better than your shitty company really is. They are secure reviews that cannot be manipulated or altered. That's exactly false. Better Business Bureau and Google can alter reviews, and they don't take down fake paid for 5-star reviews. Google and Pissed Consumer, they do take them down. So therefore, the company doesn't want you to go to Google and Pissed Consumer. But anyways, guys, back to these complaints. The number one complaint that these idiot companies get all the time is, you'll have your container in 5 to 7 days, 7 to 10 days, 7 to 10 business days. What day is it? Well, we don't know yet. Well, I need to know. Well, you're going to have to just place an order. And then a container shows up months later. That's the most common complaint with companies. Then again, the next one is, you were promised a good container used. and then they show up with just a shitty rust bucket with or without holes. And then the third complaint now, and the reason why I make my videos, is these companies are charging you guys thousands of dollars for something that the customers didn't do wrong. The company has lied, cheat, and stolen to make an order and to get that person in a trap. And then on their terms and conditions, they can keep all this money. That's when, that's when container companies start turning into scams, where they know once they get your order, they don't have to do anything right because they're going to keep your money anyways. That's when a company turns into a scam. So anyways, guys, that's it. Monday the 8th. Have a great one. Goodbye.